Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Garcia, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
Well, we are back at Common Bond. Joe Garza, Victor Garza, always kind to let us use this place. So if you guys haven't been to Common Bond, you got to come. This is the kind of stuff you get at Common Bond, this is just a little bit of what it is. And she will tell you this pistachio croissant is the best.
Yeah.
And they have one now for fall and Halloween called pumpkin. So you got to come try that. Anyway, we're back with Bianca Gracia.
Yes.
Right? Did I say that right?
Gracia, yes.
I got to meet her a couple of weeks ago in California at the Hispanic 100 event.
Yes.
Got to meet a lot of great people there. Our friend Joel invited us, and it was wonderful to meet her and everybody else. I asked her to be on the show not too long ago. She's here, and we're going to have some fun political stuff that I think hasn't been done in our show, but I think most people know where we stand. Anyway, Bianca, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. What a pleasure. What an honor to be here with you.
So Bianca
Exciting.
Gracia.
Gracia.
Gracia is not a common last name, right? Or at least I've never seen it. Like, I'm Gasita, and people always say Garcia. But it's not Garcia, it's Gasita.
And when I saw your name, I thought Casita. Like a little
Casa.
house, like a little house. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a little house.
Did he misspell it? I was thinking maybe it's a C. So yeah, Casita. That's a very unusual name. I've never
So
heard
everybody
Casita.
just glances and
Yeah.
Garcia.
Yeah.
Everybody. Like, I go to the doctor and I'll see the papers, Garcia. It's not Garcia.
They do the same thing to me.
So
They flip it
Gracia.
from Gracia to Garcia.
So where does Gracia come from?
My husband's dad comes from a very large family, obviously, right? Brownsville, Texas. And they say, and I can't remember if it's fiebre, like there's a I don't know.
Fiebre, like
group.
fever?
No, like the group.
Fiebre.
Fiebre, Tejano music.
Okay.
There is a group, and I can't remember if it's Fiebre or what of them, but there's a group, and there's brothers. And I think their real name should be Mendez, I believe, or something.
Okay.
Well, there was, something that happened in the household, and they didn't want to be that last name, so they changed it to Gracia. So, and I think he was actually not adopted, but raised by another family. Okay. So they just changed the name.
Along the Gracia.
They just changed the name and
changed name.
It's a changed name. Yeah, it's a changed name. They took on Gracia, and now
I realize your in-laws are now going, she got it all wrong.
I'm sure they're like, she doesn't know the history of her story. No, but I'm telling you, I may have gotten the grupo wrong, but I know that it's one of the Tejano bands.
Yeah.
And there's those are my brothers, but they don't acknowledge, and there's there was some things back then.
Yeah, the old stuff.
Who knows?
And your maiden name is Garcia.
But my main name is Garcia.
Which is a more common
name.
Spaniard name, typically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Garcia, yes.
Hey, I got to tell you, when I looked at your bio, I cracked up. Now, we're going to talk about your story, and you got a serious story, and you are, you got a great story. But I love how what you put in the beginning is what most people put at the end. Okay, so I don't know if you realize this, but the beginning of the bio is this, and I'm gonna obviously paraphrase this. I am a mother. I'm married to a cop, and I'm a soccer mom.
Yeah.
That's literally the beginning of your bio. You're going to read all this other stuff, but let me start by saying, I'm a mom, I'm a soccer mom, I'm invested in the community. Oh, and by the way, I'm married to a cop.
Yeah.
Right?
Veteran cop, yeah. That's most important is family.
That's it.
That's it.
I love
people ask all the time, what's important to you? Like God and family. We were raised that way with a very, very principled, things in the family, right? The family is everything. And so all that other, it's not fluff. I mean, they're achievements.
Yeah.
Very proud of my achievements.
Yeah.
They're titles. But, being a mom, which I grew up with 7 brothers and sisters. Okay, so and my brother and sister before me are 5 years apart from me. My brothers and my sisters below me are 5 years apart. So I was kind of in the middle, and I was kind of like I had an only child syndrome. I really did. I didn't believe they existed. But growing up in a household with 7 brothers and sisters, I told my parents, and I said, are you going to stop having children? Like, because I was having to take care of them. The first 2.
Look, I'm going to get you TV.
Yeah, I mean, something. Stop, please stop repopulating. But, I was like, I never want to have kids because I was raising 4 kids. Because my brother and my sister, did the typical Hispanic, Latino thing. They dropped out of school at 15 years old, got married, started having children, and went to work. It's kind of a common thing. It was not very common. I'm from a barrio. I'm very, 3-bedroom house, very low-income family, and my mother's a hairdresser, and, my dad is like...
I just want you to know that's what happened to me. I quit school at 15, got pregnant.
See? So, I mean...
I'm just joking. That didn't happen to me.
Oh, my God. I was going to say, look, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's...
I'm just messing with you.
What's part of my story... that I'm like, okay, look, listen, my brother and my sister, they're good. They did well. And each of them have six children, each of them. But for me, I would tell my parents, I was like, I'm not going to have any kids. I mean, who would have to wake up on a Saturday morning and take care of the kids while your parents went to work, And so I was like, I don't want to have any kids. But then you grow up. So I was the first one in my household, even for my parents. The first one in my household to even graduate from high school. So that was a major thing, right? Major for the family. And so then I was like, I'm going to go to college. And my parents were like, college? ¿Qué es eso? Like, nobody goes to college, right? And we can't afford college. And I was like, well, I'm going to find a way. And so, so I did. And I got accepted into St. Mary's. Actually, I applied like so many different schools. St. Mary's was the only one that accepted me. And so I went to St. Mary's. And so after that, what happened is, to the Hillary Clintons of the world, the breaking the glass ceiling, I've broken the glass ceiling for my family, for my household, for generations now. And so graduating first from high school and then going on to college and graduating. So after that, my brothers and sisters, they all stepped it up. So my 2 brothers went to the military because they didn't want it. They were not school material. But my sisters went to school. And so, and now our children are either going to school or they have professions that are, really good professions. Yeah. They're all in some profession. Yeah. And most are not pre-populating like crazy. Right. We've all got like 2 to 3 children, maybe, all of us now. And so, but we have a couple of nieces and nephews that are, definitely have more children. Yeah. And I'll give you an idea. We were at it must have been Christmas or something. We'd all gone down and we were at my house, at my very small, because my mom still lives in the very small little house that we all grew up in. And just brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. That's it. No extended, no tias from extended nothing, just us. There was about 56 children in the house.
56 children?
From all of us, yes. From all of us.
How many kids did you have about?
2. So I have 2 boys. So, going back, when I told my parents I don't ever want to have kids, is because I was like, man, los tengo que bañar. I have to cook for them. I have to clean, and then I had to clean the whole house before my parents got home from work.
It's called being a mother.
Well, not back then. I was 14 years old. I didn't want to have to do that stuff. So I said, I'm never going to do it. But once I went to college, I said, I'm probably never going to get married. I mean, my dad was like, ay, esta nunca se va a casar. But at 28, I did end up finding, someone here in Houston. He was a cop here in Houston. And I said, well, number one, I don't date cops. And that was my first mistake. And then here I am, married 20-something years later.
My first mistake was I told my wife on our first date, I'm not going to marry a Mexican.
Wow. And she's Mexican? Well,
33 years later.
And 33 years later, like me. And 24 years later, 25, 26.
So I've learned never, don't ever say those never words.
Never words, I know. I've gotten in trouble for that because, you never say never.
Never say those.
But we got married and he wanted children. I didn't, but he wanted children. So I was like, And I guess because I love you so much, I'll give you one. Like, I'll bear it. And, oh, here we go, oh my gosh. But no, we had a son. And then we said, we can't leave him alone.
Right.
But it was
I
listen.
think you should go for number 3.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, the barn and the factory is
Shut.
closed.
It's all closed.
Closed.
You are closed, permanently closed.
I waited 4 years before I got pregnant again. And so I have 2 sons. And so going back to that, how I open my bio is now because you're thrown into that realm. Now you're a mother.
Yeah.
And everything changes. Everything. So I had gone to college, went to graduate school. I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to be a federal judge. Those were my goals. Once I got married and I became a mother, it all went out the door.
I think everything does. I don't know if everything, but I think for sure things change. Look, I think things change when you get married, and I think things change when you have kids. And I have 2 grandkids. And things change again when you have grandkids. And you do think different. You're, like even grandkids to kids, right? Your thinking changes. Because you're not really not really raising them and having fun with them.
With fun with them, yeah. And then you can act them up and
You
send them back home. And then there you go.
Just having fun.
They're all sugared up. Go home.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So I'm the fun grandparent.
Yeah,
right?
you're the fun grandparent.
So anyway, that's it. So your bio, the way it starts out is great. So let's start the story of Bianca. You're born where?
In Robstown, Texas. Outside of Corpus.
You're not going to believe this, but I've been to Robstown a number of times and have friends there.
Yeah.
And you go to high school there?
I did.
You go through your schooling there?
I did.
Until you go to college?
Until I was in 9th grade, I begged to get out of that school because I knew that the graduation rate was not high. I did have goals. Remember, I had that only child syndrome. So I didn't want to be like my older brother and sister and drop out. And I didn't want to be, I wanted to be successful and I had goals. And so I begged him to send me to another school. So I ended up transferring over to Tolosa Midway in Corpus Christi. And I graduated from Tolosa.
So still living at the house.
Still living
at the house. You just go further to another school.
My parents made a sacrifice. Every morning they would have to drive.
Latino parents.
I know. Well, they drove me all the way to school and had to go pick me up because there was no bus service. So in order for me to be able to go to another school district, they would get up extra earlier now, and I had to drive about a 25 minute drive, give and take, and then they'd have to come back. Opposed to me right there. I mean, everything is like Robstown so small. It's 12,000 people.
Yeah, there's a Sonic thing.
There's a Sonic. There is a Sonic there. Yeah.
So you graduate from Corpus Christi, from that area.
Yes.
And then apply at all these colleges, but you get accepted to St. Mary's.
In San Antonio.
In San Antonio. When you're going from high school to college, did you already kind of know you wanted to be in the legal world?
Yes.
Judicial world?
Yes.
Okay. Your plan was, I'm going from high school to college to be a what?
A lawyer.
A lawyer. Okay. So you
I was going to go fight for the people.
Justice.
Just going to fight for the people. I would tell my mom, since I was little, since I was probably 8 years old, I'm going to go free my people. And she was like, vete pa allá. But I would always tell her, I'm going to go, I always saw a lot of injustices. And, growing up in the barrio, and I had an eye for that. And so I was like, I'm going to go fight for our people. And so I wanted to be a lawyer to fight for the people.
Do you know Dr. Laura Murillo?
I don't think so.
President of the Houston Hispanic Chamber.
I don't think so.
So anyway, she tells her parents are immigrants, crossed the border, etc., blah, 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 blah. She's born here, but the parents literally crossed the border. And she got accepted to Yale. So she tells her dad, who does not know English, Dad, I got accepted to Yale. He goes, Yale? ¿Qué no vas a ir a la cárcel? You're not going to jail. You're staying right here. You're not going anywhere. So she ended up not going to jail. Because according to him, it was jail.
It was jail. I can see that. I can say that's funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that's it was just my dream to go be a lawyer. I wanted to fight for people.
So you go there because you're going to be a lawyer, fight for your people. Where through that did it transition to more political?
So I went through a transition of that. So I go to college and, at my senior year in college, we, they do all these abroad Well, I was too chicken to go anywhere really abroad. So abroad for me was Washington, D.C. That was abroad. Okay, I'm going to Washington, D.C. I got accepted to American University for a semester, so spring semester. And I went and did an internship, and then you go to American University, and take I was a public justice major with a minor in legal studies.
Okay.
So, because I was going to go to law school. So I go, and that's where my eyes go open. In Washington, D.C.
The powering.
1920, yeah. 1920, yeah. Probably, yeah, 1920. So I go to Washington, D.C., and it's like I'm in a little 12,000 populated town. And then I'm going to San Antonio, where it's still the culture of the Mexicano in San Antonio is vibrant.
Right.
So I'm still like take uptown and you just kind of expand it. But then you go to Washington, D.C., and everybody's like, are you French? No. Are you Creole? No. Are you, everybody, are you Italian? No. Everybody thought I was everything but what I was.
Yeah.
And so all these people that I was there with.
You didn't say, I'm Mexican, Indian, can't you see? I have no hair.
No, that back then. I didn't know. But I had most of the people that I was in school with there at American University were all from the East Coast, probably from very wealthy families. Their dads and mothers were already doctors and lawyers. So they all had these big goals, and here I'm just trying to graduate. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go to law school. I didn't have like a specific goal. I was just gonna go to law school. For them, they were so like I'm gonna be a lawyer of the American civil liberties, and I'm gonna go and run for Congress, and I'm gonna be the next senator. I mean, they had specific goals, and I'm like, it's a goal for me to even just get out of high school and college. I'm just here, and so it opened my eyes completely to where I came back and said, my goal is too broad. A lawyer is anything.
Yeah.
Like, these people really opened up to me. So everybody in the internship programs went to Capitol Hill. They all wanted internships at Capitol Hill, which I look back and go, what would have happened to me had I gone to Capitol Hill, and who would have it probably would have scooped me up as soon as I was graduated. But I didn't. I wanted to go and work in the jail. There was like a pre-trial. That's what they called it, pre-trial, where they offered interns. Nobody wanted to go there. And so they were like, somebody wants to go to pre-trial? And I was like, I want to go to pre-trial. Because I was going to go fight for the people, right? So
justice, you're about justice.
Justice, I'm going to go pre-trial. So I end up going to pre-trial, and that's where I do my internship, and I see a whole different level of everything, and I really enjoyed it. And so I said, does pre-trial exist everywhere? Does it exist in Texas? And they're like, oh yeah, but at the federal level only. So I was like, okay, so that kind of shaped me to come back. And I hadn't graduated from college yet. College. I hadn't graduated. And so I started to look up, and I called the Southern District at the time. I called the chief of the Southern District. I said, hey, I just did I'm going to introduce myself. I want to give you my resume. If you ever have any openings or any internships. And he says, well, we really don't hire interns. I said, well, okay, I just did an internship in DC at the pretrial there. And so I'm just putting it out there. So anyway, they called me later, like, I don't know if it was a month later or whatever. And they said, hey, why don't you come in? His name was Chief Bird. He says, why don't you come in and come talk to me? Okay, so he never done an internship. I got the first internship. I got a contract position. It was a contract position. So I was going to school and at the federal level. And so there was only a few, I don't even remember what they call them. They're directors or pretrial. I'm sorry. They're like probation officers, but they were pretrial officers.
Different.
So they were federal employees, made good money, good benefits. And what their job was to, when someone was arrested at the federal level, or the marshals or the Secret Service, whoever arrested them, they would come in through pretrial. Everybody comes to pretrial. So what we would do is screen them. We would do their background check, and then we were the ones that recommended bail or bond, bail, bond, or detention.
That's a little powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. And so I never knew that. Again, opening the eyes. Retrial, wait a minute. Because when you see on TV, the judge goes, oh, you're remanded to, whatever. But the judge doesn't make that decision. It's the pretrial officer that nobody ever talks about in the back end that makes all the decision. You give the recommendation to the judge, and probably 99.9% of the time, the judge goes with what you tell them.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, maybe the judge will tweak it, but not really. They depend on you to have done that background check. You have to write a report and give it to them so that they know exactly, do they have a flight risk? Are they a danger to the community? Those are two things that you grade them on. A danger to the community, and do they have a flight risk? And so that was, I ended up there. So I did that through, graduated from college, and then started to look around for pretrials, and found there was not a pretrial in San Antonio, I believe, but there was one here in Harris County. So it was at the county level, not at the federal level. And at the federal level, there was no jobs because they're a very cush job, and unless you retire, that job becomes available. Right, they don't like open. It's not like a growing. It's very tight. Yeah. Very tight. Those people stay there for like 20, 30 years. That's how comfortable of a job it is for them.
Like you go to them and you go like, how old are you? 84?
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Exactly. You're going to retire anytime soon? They were very comfortable. They were really good paying jobs, very good, not super high demanding. You get out at 5, you're not working 24/7. But here, so I look up Harris County pretrial, and I apply here, and they, offer me a job. So I end up moving to Houston, and there I am at pretrial in Houston, and this is a 24/7.
Still in college?
No, I'm graduated now.
Graduated
now. That was my job. So I come here to Harris County, work at pretrial, and that's where it's a 24/7. So that's how I meet my husband. So when people say, where did you meet your husband? I said, in jail. So they always think like, you were in jail? And I'm like, yeah, I used to do the interviews.
I wouldn't give any more information. I would literally leave it there and say, yes, I met my husband.
I think it's a funny like icebreaker.
Let them go make their own story up.
Listen, being in the political world, you know how many stories
do you know how many? Did you hear that, Bianca?
Do you know how many stories get made up about people when you're in the political realm, in any kind of governmental position, anything? But that's how it all started. So that's my transition. Still not really political, but in college, I loved. Our family grew up with John F. Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Like, did your family like John F. Kennedy? No. But I know you guys didn't because of the biopic.
You got it.
Yeah. I've been to that museum, by the way.
Talk to Cubans about you.
I know, but we loved it. We loved it. Obviously, we didn't live in Cuba, but
yeah, I think they're over it. No, I'm not gonna say.
No, I don't think they're over it. No, Cubans.
I was trying to be nice. I was like, I think they're over it. But I was like,
no, Cubans don't. They don't get over. They don't forget. No,
oh my God,
they may forgive, but they don't forget. They don't forget nothing. No. They will hold it over you for the rest of your life.
Ever.
And so yeah, no, but that's really what happened. And so in college, I interned for the Governor Ann Richards. Okay. I used to love her, and she was a woman, so I was like, ooh, woman governor. So I interned for it. That was as close as I got to politics, because I was in public justice and I was going to go to law school, and this is what I was on a mission, right?
So you're out of college. You're working in Harris County. You graduated. Meet your husband in jail, not Yale, jail. And where are you making the switch to look? I think I want to be involved in politics, community.
So it doesn't get there. So I go through this whole thing from pretrial. So I end up in Harris County. I don't like the Harris County pretrial. So I look for the Western District. I was at the Western District. I look for the Southern District now, which is here in Houston at federal court.
Okay.
So I call that chief up. Okay. And I'm like, Chief, I'm here in Harris County and I don't like it. And I was working for Chief Ferd. And I'm looking to see if you will, hire a contractor or if you have any openings. And he's like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, he's like, what did you do? And I said, I was a contractor, Chief Bird, because I started in D.C. and all this. Yeah. Anyway, so he calls Chief Bird and he says, oh, yeah, she worked here. Great. She even brought another college person. And we hired another one they were both contractors and they helped out the officers. They would do the reports for the officers. And so anyway, so he verifies it. They call me in and they're like, you know what? Their workload on the officers is a little heavy, and we've got, it's a Southern District. So it's not just Houston. It's like Corpus and McAllen and, Del Rio, whatever. So they're like, hey, some of these people have a case so they could use some help. So they hire me, contractor here at the Southern District. So I leave Harris County in pretrial and I'm like, I'm out of here. See you. But right before I left is when I met my husband. right before I left Harris County. When I met him in jail, I was already on my way to federal court here. So I end up, that changes everything, because now I'm in a relationship.
Now you're in
love, and now we're talking marriage, and here we are, and we're dating, and then I end up leaving the federal court, and then my whole life just turns upside down. I end up going to teaching. I start as a substitute teacher because now I'm trying to be like a little perfect little housewife and everything, and so I go to teaching, and I go something more community, right? Yeah. Not in the federal aspect of things. So I go into teaching. They're trying to hire me to be a teacher. I become a bilingual teacher, 4th and 5th grade. I go through all of that, and then, through our Catholic church, which is down here, St. Anne's. That's where we used to go, is at the St. Anne's Catholic Church. So we got married at St. Anne's, and all of that is how I began all my community. I became a wedding coordinator after I was married. I gave my time back to the church. That was my way of giving back to the church. So I became a wedding coordinator, and I would pretty much be the one that coordinated all the weddings coming through the Catholic Church. I did that for years. And then I even opened up my own little business, and I was like trying to, do it for other brides. And I went through all of this stuff. And then
you were the wedding planner.
I was a wedding planner. I mean, you name it, I was doing it. Anything that was just to supplement, yes. And then once the children, because the children came into the picture. So then once the children came in, so much for growing up in this feminist movement. Yeah. The time of the women, and I'm going to be a judge, and I'm going to be a, hear me roar woman. Then you become a mother, and everything changes. So now it was like, I had to be there for my kid, for my child, for my son who depended on me. And I probably became like more involved. That my mother was not involved. She was a hardworking mother. She worked long hours. My parents were never home. I was the one raising kids. Yeah. So I guess I was raising kids to prepare myself to raise more kids. Right. But that's how involved I got. And so everything from Cub Scouts to soccer.
Being a mother, housewife, or partner, however you want to put it, that got you involved in community service. Mm-hmm.
That's what got me involved, because I follow my kids wherever. Yeah. Soccer, baseball,
team mom,
room mom, PTO president, PTO vice president. Every position on the PTO I served as a PTO through elementary with them because I had them 4 years apart. I had my 4 sons 4 years apart. So by the time one was in 5th grade, the other one was starting kinder, and I had to start all over again. So 11 years of PTO, running PTO, being in PTO, and so I was just like, I don't know, I just get things done. And I never really saw myself as that.
It feels like you didn't have that. You have the heart of being busy, doing something, being active.
I'm being active.
Right? You don't want to just sit at home and watch movies.
Oh my gosh, no, it would drive me insane. I can't sit anywhere for too long.
Yeah.
I'm getting older now, so it's like I look forward to sitting down. But no, I mean, I'm just, people started to say, if you want something done, you go to Bianca.
What was your big first political position? All right, so we're wrapping up part 1 of this incredible interview with Bianca Gracia. Join us this Friday for the conclusion and the more political side as we go into the election week. Don't miss it.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating.